So I've got two shrimp tanks. This one is absolutely thriving, and this one is failing and might actually be cursed. And here we can see a ton of healthy shrimp who even started breeding. Maybe you can see that one's buried right there. And in here, they're babies, but most of the adults have passed away, unfortunately, due to failed molts. So in this video, I'm going to rescue all the shrimp out of this tank, move them into that other tank, and as I do, I'll tell you about what I think went wrong. So first thing I'm going to do is just remove all the floating plants so I can get a better look inside. It'll make it way easier to catch out the shrimp. So viewers of the channel may know that this little tank here, this little shallow from UNS, has actually had a couple different setups in it at this point. This is the second one. Both of them were shrimp tanks, and both of them failed, unfortunately. But I've got that really successful other tank, and there are some major differences between the two. So I'm not going to bother trying to get rid of all this duckweed, but now we can get a much better look inside. Here's a nice little look at a juvenile shrimp who looks pretty healthy, but I had one of the juveniles pass away the other day, which has kind of kick-started me into thinking like, all right, it's time. But it's really a shame because I really think this is a beautiful little tank. And I set this one up with more of like a classic substrate system, like some gravel, a little bit of aqua soil, and then sand on top. And there is some dragon stone in here and a little bit of dragon wood that's kind of covered up at the moment. And then I put in this little shrimp rock because the hardness and like the general hardness and the carbonate hardness were just too low. And even with the shrimp rock, which is oversized for this tank, I'm just continuing to have that problem. And that's the major difference between these two tanks, is the substrate. So the substrate in this tank is Seachem Fluorite Red, which looks awesome, but it seems like the shrimp just totally love it. And I think it provides a lot of surface area for them to feed on, but also I think it just puts the hardness, both carbonate in general, just in the perfect parameters. So in here, shrimp, super healthy. So I got this shrimp net that I can use to catch the little guys. Now, just need a container. All right, I got this little glass bowl. This will be perfect. So I'm just going to get a little bit of water from their tank in here, just enough to put the shrimp in. So I'm going to use this dish to acclimate them to the other tank. But let's get started catching. And I'm hoping to not have to take this tank down completely to get all of these guys. Because I'm not... Ooh, there's one. I'm not completely sure what I want to do with it yet. So there's some options. I could completely tear it down, which I don't really want to do. Let's see if this guy gets on here. There we go. There we go, straight into the net, which I don't totally want to do. I don't really want to tear down the tank because I really like it. I think it's a beautiful little aquarium. It's really cool. It's got this almost like a moss carpet going on here mixed in with the dwarf hairgrass, but it's just not suitable for shrimp, obviously. So I could get some tiny little fish to go in here. And I'm not sure what kind of fish they would be. I would need some recommendations from you guys, I think, about what tiny fish might go well in an aquarium this size. So if you have any ideas about that, give me some options. I would love if you guys could let me know. There's a big adult. Perfect. Or I could try again and take this whole thing down and do another shrimp tank in here, but more successfully maybe using some of the maybe using some of the fluorite or a different substrate that would be better, because I thought that the kind of classic method that I've been using for a while was going to work, and obviously it has not, at least in this tank. There's one guy in the back here. See if I can get in to grab him or her. There we go. So yeah, those are some options for the tank. So let me know what you guys think. What you think would be a cool idea for it. It's, I mean, the tank is a really cool size and shape, and I really like it. And yeah, I want to keep this scape, but I'm open to new ideas. Well, unfortunately, I think that that is all the shrimp. I'm going to be, keeping this tank running for the time being, just while I figure out what to do next. No reason not to just keep the filter running for a little while. There's plenty of snails in here, and maybe I'll see some more shrimp emerge over the next couple days. But you can see in here, we've got 2 adults and 2 babies or juveniles, which unfortunately that's less than I expected to find. So hopefully a couple more will show up, but I'm going to start acclimating them. So I just grabbed this little cup from the kitchen. I'm just going to take some of the water out of the tank that these shrimp are going into, just like that. Then I'm going to add a little bit at a time, just a couple drops. Then I'll add a couple more drops every few minutes or so, over maybe half an hour, and then I'll add them into the tank. So at this point, you're probably wondering, like, why do I think this tank is cursed? So yeah, second setup in here, 2 failures. And I'm not really a superstitious person, but I don't know, it just gives me like a weird feeling. Ultimately, though, even if it is cursed, I can't just rule out the possibility of my own failures. So I expected this one to do a lot better than it has done. The first setup in here was the bonsai pond setup, and there were just way too many variables with that one. There was some soil on the roots of the bonsai, which I think really impacted the shrimp, and giving them bordetella, and ultimately. So I learned a lot from that first tank, and then I set up the more successful one, which we've seen, and then set up this one, which was another failure. And the main defining thing is really just that substrate. And through that whole process, I did learn a lot more about general hardness and carbonate hardness and what shrimp really need. And the water where I was living before, because I just moved into this apartment, was a lot softer than it is here. So that's another factor that I think is going to help the shrimp in the long run, is having harder water and then setting up shrimp tanks with a more suitable substrate that's going to increase the general hardness and carbonate hardness. So ultimately, the tank probably isn't cursed, but I might just go scorched earth on this and just totally redo it if I'm going to do a shrimp tank. If I'm not going to do a shrimp tank, I could put some little fish in here. So let me know what you think. All right, guys, so the shrimp are all acclimated and ready to go. Time to add them to the tank. All right, I'm going to try to move some of these floating plants so we can see them go in here. Well, there's one. All right, there we go. Looks like they are a little bit freaked out, which is understandable. This big one right here is moving around there. Oh, there they go. These orange guys really kind of blend into the substrate. It's kind of cool. So I know a lot of people will say to not put different colors of shrimp together, but in this case, I was really just trying to get those other shrimp out of that tank that was not working out. And yeah, I'm happy that even though that colony suffered, it will continue on in here. And all of those shrimp look super healthy. Like the ones that were passing away in that other tank were doing so because of failed molts. So that should be totally remedied in here. And with the buried blue shrimp that I have in here, it very likely mated with another blue shrimp. So at least there's going to be a bunch of blue shrimp babies. So that blue will probably be diluted maybe in the long term from these orange shrimp. And there is one red cherry shrimp in here as well from the very first colony of shrimp that was in that tank and also failed. So it'll be primarily blue, and over time, maybe the genetics will be diluted to be less blue, but I don't really think that's a problem. I'm totally fine with that. So it's really unfortunate that this tank failed in terms of shrimp, but all we can really do is try to look on the bright side and into the future and not dwell on our mistakes. And I've done what I can. I rescued the shrimp from here, and now I have a decision of what I want to do with this tank. So if you guys have any ideas about maybe small fish in this scape or just totally redoing it, let me know what you think would be a good idea. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me save some shrimp from a cursed setup and adding them into a successful setup. There's more shrimp tanks to come in the future, more aquariums of all kinds. So make sure that you like and subscribe if you liked the video, and leave me a comment and let me know what I should do with this tank. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.